What is consciousness? Is time travel possible? What came before the Big Bang? There are a lot of unanswerable questions that science can't explain. Have you ever experienced a moment where you looked at a friend and suddenly they looked like a migrant? Well, there's a name for that. And no, we also can't explain it. We think it's not bad, because we love mysteries. And in this video, we're going to look at the 15 unsolved mysteries that still haunt modern science. Let's start off with number 15, when cancer just disappears. In some rare cases, cancer completely breaks the rules. A tumor that seemed totally unstoppable suddenly shrinks or vanishes without chemo, surgery, or any kind of treatment. This bizarre event is called spontaneous regression, and we still haven't cracked how or why it works. One lead researchers are chasing is fasting. A few case studies have found tumors reducing after extreme dietary changes or long fasting periods. The idea is that starvation kicks off autophagy, a kind of cellular self-cleaning that clears out damaged cells and helps the body regenerate. Another possibility is that by cutting off glucose and insulin, the tumor is also deprived of its fuel. But even that doesn't explain why it's so incredibly rare or why it happens only sometimes. We still don't know how the body decides to push back. What we do know is that it does happen, and it proves that there's still a lot about healing we don't understand. Number 14, jamais vu. Well, we've all had déjà vu before. That strange flicker where you step into a room or hear a sentence and it suddenly feels like it already happened. It's cool, but jamais vu is basically the complete reverse. It's when something is absolutely familiar, but for a moment, it feels totally new. You could be chatting with a friend, and all at once their face feels unfamiliar, or walk into your usual workspace and feel like you've never seen it before. The term literally means never seen in French, and scientists have been puzzled by it for decades. One theory says your brain's memory network briefly goes out of sync. The data is there, but the recognition system lags, so your own reality feels off. Another explanation involves attention. When focus slips, your brain reprocesses things like they're being seen for the first time. Whatever the actual reason, we haven't figured it out yet. And honestly, that's part of what makes it so interesting. Number 13. What caused the Denmark tremors? Well, now this is mind-boggling. Back in May 2023, people on the Danish island of Bornholm felt tremors strong enough to shake their furniture. But when geologists examined the data, they found no record of seismic activity. The ground moved, but science had no evidence to explain it. Around that same time, people across southern Sweden also reported similar shaking. A minor explosion did occur in Poland that day, but the timeline didn't match up. It was weird, but not unprecedented. In 2018, seismic monitors picked up a wave signal stretching from Mayotte to Hawaii. It lasted 20 minutes and circled the globe. Nobody felt it. Scientists are still poring over the data from both events. But what caused these movements? Still unclear. Earth doesn't usually move for no reason. And when it does, without a trace, it leaves experts scratching their heads. These mystery tremors don't fit the standard earthquake profile, and until something solid surfaces, they'll remain one more unexplained event in Earth's record. Number 12. Electrophonic meteors. There are people who swear they've heard meteors at the exact moment they streak across the sky, not seconds later, but right as the light flashes overhead. And they're not describing a boom. It's usually more of a faint crackle or low sizzle. That shouldn't be possible. Sound travels much slower than light. If a meteor's burning up miles above you, the sound shouldn't reach you for a while. Scientists believe it might involve very low-frequency electromagnetic waves. When a meteor blazes through the upper atmosphere, it may produce those waves, which travel at the speed of light and interact with nearby surfaces like glasses, leaves, or even your hair, turning them into tiny impromptu speakers. Lab tests have managed to recreate this phenomenon, but it still doesn't fully add up. There's no universal agreement on how it works, just that it does. The mystery sits somewhere between sound, light, and the weird capabilities of human perception. Number 11. The origins of complex eyes. Just about every animal on Earth has eyes, whether it's insects, mollusks, fish, mammals, or anything in between. Most scientists think eyes started as tiny, light-sensitive patches that gradually became more advanced. But here's the weird part. Eyes didn't evolve just once. They appear to have evolved separately at least 40 different times across unrelated species. It gets even stranger when you look back at fossils from the Cambrian explosion, roughly 540 million years ago. Some of those ancient creatures already had fully formed eyes, with lenses and retinas. That's hard to explain, because an eye only works when all the parts work together. Miss one, and the whole system fails. And yet eyes keep reinventing themselves. Even today, some deep-sea fish have evolved eyes that work in near-total darkness. How eyes repeatedly develop in different species, each time from scratch, is still one of the oddest mysteries in evolutionary biology. And for now, we still don't have a solid answer. All right, let's move to number 10. Zombie fires. Zombie fires are exactly what they sound like, blazes that refuse to die. And they don't just show up anywhere. These fires re-emerge in the Arctic, especially in Alaska, Canada, and Siberia, and often flare up around early May, when the snow starts to melt. What's disturbing is that many of them seem to be leftovers from the previous summer, still smoldering underground all winter. There are several ideas about how this happens, but no official agreement yet. The main theory points to peat, dense, carbon-rich material buried below the surface that can burn slowly for months while insulated from wind, rain, or snow. When spring arrives, heat and dryness can restart the flames. In 2021, satellite data confirmed that some fires reappeared exactly where last year's had died. But other scientists argue that warmer air alone could spark new fires, making it look like the old ones came back. Either way, they're stubborn, sneaky, and hard as hell to fight. Number 9. The Silkhenges. Back in 2013, scientists working in eastern Peru noticed bizarre silk structures on tree trunks and leaves. At first glance, they looked like random webbing, but when observed closely, their design didn't match anything known. Each one featured a tall central tower surrounded by evenly spaced vertical threads. It looked like a miniature Stonehenge made entirely of silk. By 2019, entomologist Phil Torres managed to film one up close. The structure was more detailed than anyone expected, but still offered no clue about who built it or why. No one's ever caught the creature making one. It's suspected to be an egg sac or protective chamber, but no one's confirmed that either. Until someone captures the builder in action, it's all just theory. Shout out to Phil Torres from Expedition X. What's up, man? Totally watching. Probably going to catch up on that show right after this. If you haven't seen Expedition X or Expedition Unknown, go for it. Number 8. The Hole in the Galaxy. NGC 247 is a spiral galaxy sitting about 11 million light-years away, and it's famous for one really strange feature: the void. One side is loaded with stars. The other looks like someone punched a giant hole right through it. At first, astronomers blamed gravitational pull from a nearby galaxy. Then some speculated it could have been caused by dark matter slamming into it, disrupting gas clouds and halting star formation in that patch. Of course, the theory that captured everyone's attention came from SETI fans, who suggested it might be aliens building Dyson spheres, massive structures that trap starlight for energy. But that one's pure speculation. Still, the truth is we don't know. None of the leading ideas really explains it. The void's origin is still hanging out there, unconfirmed. Or floating up there. Depends on your perspective. Well, either way, it's a giant question mark in deep space. And no, there's no air up there either. Number 7. What is behind the Outer Hebrides hum? A strange low-frequency hum on the Isle of Lewis in Scotland's Outer Hebrides has been driving residents mad for years. It's constant, low, and seems to hover in the air. Not everyone hears it, but for the 200 or so who do, it's unrelenting. Some say it keeps them awake. Others report headaches, ear pressure, or a non-stop fluttering in their ears. The hum measures around 50 hertz and tends to be most intense along the eastern coastline. Locals and researchers have tried to trace the source for years, suggesting cargo ships, industrial generators, passing submarines, or even a local factory. One resident described it as the sound they imagined Earth would make if it groaned while rotating. As of 2025, the mystery's still unsolved and reportedly getting louder. No one, neither scientists nor the government, has successfully tracked where it's coming from. Number 6. Choice blindness. Say you pick something, vanilla over chocolate, photo B instead of photo A, and feel good about your choice. But what if someone swaps it behind your back and you don't just miss the switch? You actually defend the new option as if you picked it? That's choice blindness. It's been recreated in countless lab studies. In one of the most famous studies, participants were shown two faces and asked which one they found more attractive. After choosing, researchers secretly switched the photo. Most people didn't notice. They simply explained why they chose the one they actually didn't. What's still unclear is why people notice the trick when it's about something deeply personal, like picking a wedding dress, but miss it entirely with smaller, casual choices. It reveals something strange about how we form preferences and how easily we rewrite our own memories to protect them. Your choices might feel concrete, but sometimes they're a little more fragile than you think. What do you think about it? Is it weird or wonderful? Number 5. The Allais effect. Pendulums aren't exactly thrilling to watch. They just swing back and forth with a steady rhythm. But in 1954, French physicist Maurice Allais noticed his Foucault pendulum drift off its expected path during a solar eclipse, almost like something invisible had nudged it. Since then, scientists have brought out their pendulums and gravimeters during eclipses, hoping to see the same strange behavior. Sometimes they spot the drift. Other times, nothing happens, which only adds to the confusion. According to current physics, solar eclipses shouldn't mess with gravity or change how objects move. And yet, Allais' odd little anomaly shows up just often enough to stop researchers from completely dismissing it. It's inconsistent, unexplained, and still doesn't line up with what we know about gravitational effects. But it's there. And until someone proves otherwise, that slight wobble remains one of those unresolved questions that lingers on the fringe of accepted science. Have you ever thought about why or how we came to be on Earth? Number 4. Precognition. Ever sensed something before it occurred? Thousands of people claim they've predicted events in advance, a sudden phone call, a disaster, even a tragic moment, days before it actually happened. Some insist they foresaw the September 11th attacks, describing vivid dreams or overwhelming dread in the days leading up to them. The term for this is precognition, and the biggest issue with it is basic. It breaks the law of cause and effect. If something hasn't occurred yet, how can your mind react to it? Most scientists chalk it up to faulty memory, subconscious pattern recognition, or sheer coincidence. Your brain pulls unrelated dots together and forces meaning into them after the fact. But even with all the rational explanations, the personal stories haven't stopped. People keep coming forward with accounts that don't sit neatly inside a scientific box. And whether it's science, psychology, or something we haven't named yet, it's a mystery that refuses to stay buried. Number 3. What are skyquakes? Across the world, people have reported thunderous, unexplained sounds coming from the sky. Sometimes it's a deep boom like distant cannon fire. Other times it's more of a metallic groan or echo, drifting across the air like a sound from nowhere. Scroll through social media long enough, and you'll find dozens of videos that sound straight out of a disaster film. These bizarre events are called skyquakes. They've been reported near coastlines, lakes, and even major cities. The oldest written account dates back to New Madrid, Missouri, where people described thunderous roars during an earthquake in the early 1800s. In New York, they're referred to as the Seneca guns. In Japan, they're known as umari, cries from the sea. No single explanation fits. Scientists have pointed to shifting air pressure, deep earth gas pockets, or even sonic booms from aircraft. But none of these answers explain every case. Number 2. When people have hallucinations without drugs. If you stare at a blank floor or wall long enough, you'll eventually start seeing things. Colors, patterns, even strange images that aren't actually there. The brain isn't built to process silence or visual emptiness. When it gets bored, it fills in the gaps. This effect is called the Ganzfeld phenomenon, and what people report can closely resemble what's experienced under psychedelics. Some see swirling colors. Others claim to spot shapes, lights, or even vague faces forming in front of them. At one point, some parapsychologists even thought it might help prove psychic abilities, but mainstream scientists weren't on board with that. What most do agree on is that the visions are real, at least in the mind of the viewer. But why they're so vivid and why everyone sees something slightly different remains a question nobody's nailed down. It's one of those rare phenomena where the experience is genuine, but the explanation is still out of reach. Number 1. Ponce and Fleischmann's interesting claim. In 1989, chemists Stanley Ponce and Martin Fleischmann stunned the world when they claimed they had achieved nuclear fusion at room temperature using palladium electrodes and heavy water, a process they referred to as cold fusion. If science talk makes your brain hurt, just know this is the same kind of reaction that powers the sun, except supposedly done on a lab table. If it were real, it could have meant almost limitless clean energy. The problem? Nobody else could replicate the results. Most of the scientific community chalked it up to error, and the claim was quickly buried. But it didn't completely disappear. Other researchers later found that similar setups using palladium and heavy water occasionally released bursts of heat or even left behind traces of nuclear byproducts. Labs in Japan, Italy, and the US have all reported anomalies. It still doesn't match what physics says should be possible, but some believe it was dismissed too fast. We hope you've enjoyed this video. If you did, be sure to like, share, and subscribe to our channel for more content like this. Thanks for hanging with us, and we'll see you very soon.